Chapter 72 to 73. By the riverbank in the Miyama district, Shirou had escaped and everyone slowly dispersed from the scene. Kiritsugu had intended to target Waver, but Iriviel's presence on Iskandar's side made it risky. Despite Iskandar's righteous demeanor, Kiritsugu couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't harm Iriviel. Kiritsugu, always prepared for the worst, chose to abandon his plan temporarily. Waver and Iskandar returned to their base, with Waver feeling like a failure as a master. The 6th day of the Holy Grail War was approaching its climax, and Waver needed to catch up. He went to the place where he summoned Iskandar and absorbed the power of the ley line to compensate for his lack of magical energy. Swish! Suddenly, a strange sound echoed from the forest. "Ryder, what are you doing?" Waver turned around, ready to ask Ryder what he was doing there, but the words got stuck in his throat as he saw the person before him. The golden hair, blue clothes, and proud face confirmed the identity of the person who had arrived. His professor, the Lord of the El Meloi faction, a first-class lecturer in spiritual evocation, heavily honored and named child prodigy, Kenneth El Meloi Archibald. Waver was shocked to see Kenneth appear before him. You... Kenneth chuckled. "My foolish disciple, as your professor, I will give you a good lesson in our last class." He wore white gloves and took out a vial, pouring it on the ground. In an instant, a ball of mercury expanded around Kenneth. Waver, being a student of the El Meloi, recognized the ball of mercury as volumen hydrargyrum, the most prized possession of the Lord El Meloi and the supreme possession of the El Meloi faction. A unique mystic code that uses magical mercury for defense, attack, and reconnaissance. Waver fell to the ground in fear and screamed, "Ryder! Ryder! Don't waste your energy. My lancer is keeping your king of conquest." Kenneth laughed. "Without the Gordius wheel, Diarmuid won't give him the chance to summon his noble phantasm." Waver raised his palm. "With this command sealed—" But before he could finish his sentence, the volumen hydrargyrum transformed into a silver whip and struck toward him. Waver was forced to roll out of the way to avoid being hit. Kenneth approached him gracefully. "As your professor, I'll give you one last lesson, but as Kenneth, I'll make you feel the full force of my rage. You see, what I hate the most are fools like you." Writing a thesis refuting the bloodline superiority theory thinking you're clever. Do you have any idea what will happen if it's published? Other nobles and lords may tear it apart, but the filth it will bring upon me is irreparable. Kenneth was furious, filled with rage. I don't know," Waver stammered, "but I know my thesis is correct." His voice was firm, revealing his unwavering determination. Kenneth let out a sigh. "Correct? All right, my foolish disciple, it's my mistake." Waver's insides tightened at his words. "You're not even qualified to be a magus," Kenneth said coldly. "Having a disciple like you is a permanent stain on my reputation that can never be washed away, only purged." The volumen hydrargyrum started attacking on its own. Waver dodged the attacks, using the surrounding trees as cover. "Whether I'm qualified to be a magus or not is not for you to decide." "Then who does get to decide?" Kenneth asked. "Me," Waver declared proudly. "Waver Velvet himself." "Foolish words," Kenneth sneered. "Idiotic and inadequate. You have poor talent in Magecraft and come from a dishonorable family. What could someone like you possibly achieve? Decide? You can't decide anything. You're only fit to wander in the lowest level of Magecraft, like a mouse in the sewers, never having the chance to rise up." "That's not true," Waver yelled back. "I have seen the ultimate state of the world, and I've seen a hero who is younger than me, but already moving forward. I don't know what the future holds, but I'll go forward anyway. I have a dream." "Fool," Kenneth exclaimed. "A commoner trying to resist the nobility system? That's your dream? You're too foolish. How could I have produced such an ignorant and foolish disciple? Very well, I'll make it clear for you. Your future is hell. Death. Do you understand now, Waver Velvet? Why do I have to spell it out for you, you foolish and incompetent child? I won't back down, Waver declared. I've seen heroes with dreams and aspirations, and I will not be left behind. I will challenge reality to achieve my own dream. That's the greatest lesson I've learned in this war. You dare challenge me? Kaneth seethed. Waver deftly navigated the forest, using its terrain to shield himself from the volumen Hydragyrum. He pulled out a yellow powder from his pocket and scattered it over the entity, dodging its attacks once more. Why don't you attack, Waver? Kaneth sneered. You talk big, but your actions are lacking. Waver didn't respond, instead letting his thoughts wander to the dreams and ambitions of the heroes he had met in this war. He thought of Iskandar's pursuit of the world's extremity with the soldiers of Ionioi Hetairoi, and of Shirou's calm command of the servants as he faced the giant. He longed for their strength and resolve. Waver made a decision. He would step beyond himself and strive towards that world's extremity. I won't back down, he repeated, more determined than ever. There's no need to hide his humble nature behind a facade of excessive pride anymore. Waver already held a magnificent vision in his mind. Waver skillfully dodged, flinging handfuls of yellow powder toward the volumen Hydragyrum. A sharp "ka" echoed as the volumen Hydragyrum let out a faint sound, signaling that it was ready. With a somersault, Waver emerged from the forest, crouching halfway in front of Kaneth. Not running away, Mr. Waver Velvet? Kaneth sneered. What? Don't tell me you're not afraid? Waver replied confidently. I have no reason to be. I've already won. Lord El Meloy, allow me to demonstrate my ultimate Magecraft. With that, he pulled out a gun from his pocket and aimed it at Kaneth's head. Kaneth laughed mockingly. This is your so-called ultimate Magecraft? A gun? How absurd! You must think I'm a fool. Are you trying to make me laugh? No, I'm not joking. You've lost, Lord El Meloy, Waver declared. Ha ha ha! Stop with the nonsense, Kaneth said, with a hint of arrogance in his voice. My volumen Hydragyrum can easily withstand your bullets. But Kaneth's words trailed off as he heard the sharp pop, pop, pop of the gun. To his shock, the volumen Hydragyrum surrounding him shattered like glass, falling to the ground in pieces. What? No way! How did this happen? Why did my volumen Hydragyrum... Kaneth's eyes widened in disbelief. What did you do? Kaneth was at a loss for an explanation. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't figure out what Waver had done to make the volumen Hydragyrum fall apart. I infused copper zinc powder with a bit of Magecraft, Waver explained. Kaneth's eyes bulged with veins as he exclaimed, What? Copper zinc powder? How could a mere copper zinc powder break my volumen Hydragyrum? No, I can't believe I'm actually asking you. I, the prodigy, the Lord, am actually asking you. What a joke! He had lost. From the moment he asked the question, his defeat was sealed. Kaneth had lived a highly successful life, rising to become one of the members of the aristocratic faction and reaching the peak of his power. But now he was reduced to asking his own disciple, someone he considered a fool. I have thoroughly researched the methods of creating the volumen Hydragyrum and have a deep understanding of its techniques, Waver continued. I applied my knowledge to the copper zinc powder, allowing it to disrupt the preservation of the volumen Hydragyrum and react with the mercury at its core. Mercury is the essence of the volumen Hydragyrum, and when it comes into contact with copper, it transforms into copper amalgam, rendering your volumen Hydragyrum useless. What is this? What's happening? Is this still Magecraft? Kaneth questioned, his voice filled with confusion and uncertainty. "Times have changed, Professor," Waver declared, his voice filled with conviction. "So Magecraft must change as well." Kaneth's eyes widened as he stared at the black gun barrel in Waver's hand. He took a few steps back, clearly in a state of shock. "I, the Lord of Clock Tower, one of the members of the aristocratic faction, being taught by such a heretic. I lost. He had always been the epitome of confidence. As the son of a famous family, he was intelligent, talented, and had inherited the Magic Crest achievements passed down from generation to generation. With his rare talent to match, it was no surprise that everyone called him the child prodigy. This title was taken for granted as he never faced any challenges or obstacles to his success. However, his greatest trial finally arrived when he was defeated by his own disciple, whom he had always looked down upon as foolish. The world he once ruled began to crumble, and his title of child prodigy was no more. "Kill me," Kaneth whispered, his voice filled with despair. "Why do I have to kill you?" Waver asked, lowering his gun. "You're my professor. You're supposed to help me achieve my dream." Kaneth scowled. "You have no value as a magus," he spat out. "Allow me to give you one final lesson. Kindness is a weakness in the war of magi. Watch closely. I won't let Lancer go easy on you." "Ryder will not be defeated," Waver declared. Kaneth let out a sarcastic laugh. Just then, a woman's scream shattered the silence. "Sola!" Kaneth cried out. He sprang into action, running towards the source of the scream. Waver followed close behind. When they arrived, they were stunned by the sight before them. Diarmuid, dressed entirely in black, had Sola by the neck, lifting her off the ground. "Lancer, what are you doing? Are you trying to betray us?" Kaneth yelled, trying to charge forward. "Don't move! He's been infected by the black mud," a deep voice warned. Both men turned to see Iskander lying on the ground, half of his body submerged in the black mud. "Ryder!" Waver cried out, wanting to go to him. "Don't come closer! Run away!" Iskander summoned his horse and told Waver, "Friend, ride quickly and find Castor, find the King of Knights, then come back to fight me. I still have a command seal. By the power of command seals, Ryder, get rid of the black mud." Waver frantically raised his arm, but to no avail. The command seals were ineffective. Iskander smiled sadly. "It appears the mud truly is the Grail. The command seals are now useless. Run, kid, or you will meet your end by my blade." The harsh reality hit Waver like a ton of bricks. "Why? Why is this happening?" he muttered, unable to grasp what was happening. "Kaneth, save me! Kaneth, save me!" Sola cried out in desperation. Diarmuid tightened his grip on her throat and used the yellow rose of mortality to slice across her face, destroying her delicate beauty in an instant. "My face, my face, my face!" Sola wailed in agony. "Sola!" Kaneth was beside himself with fear and reached for his mystic code, but then he realized it was destroyed. He was helpless. Diarmuid disfigured Sola and cast her aside. He raised his dual spears and fixed a cold, deadly gaze on Kaneth. Without a word, he began to advance toward Kaneth. Lying on the ground, Iskander grabbed his short sword and threw it at Diarmuid. Diarmuid spun around, brandishing a spear. The clash of metal echoed as Iskandar's sword was deflected. Iskander lunged forward, grappling with Diarmuid, but the black mud that coated his foe was hastening his own erosion. "Hurry! Get away, master! Don't just stand there!" Iskander yelled. "Yes, I am the master!" Waver wiped away his tears, mounted Bucephalus, took Kaneth and Sola with him, and galloped away. "Go! Hurry! Run, little master! I have faith in you and your potential. Preserve your strength, focus on the future, and return to face me, to defeat me. I, Iskander, will be the greatest obstacle standing in the way of your path to the ultimate world," Iskander cried out. Slowly but surely, the black mud consumed Iskander. In the end, Iskandar's gaze fell on the Golden King, Gilgamesh. "Why? Why would you do this to yourself? He asked. One who can break fate can rule the future, Gilgamesh replied. Is this why you did not act against my master? Iskandar questioned. He is already on the path of enlightenment and beyond my punishment, Gilgamesh declared. Ha 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 ha. Is that so? Do you wish to purify it? Do you wish to enlighten it? Do you wish to make the earth devoid of those who sing praises of heroes, devoid of those who worship the gods, and devoid of the foolish? O hero king of Uruk, your sin is wrath. You are too full of anger. You are not consumed by this filth, but by your own karma, fire. Iskandar spoke before he was completely consumed. Clench your fists and your hands are empty. Open your fists and your hands are full. Gods, rulers, heroes, mortals. They are all merely demons in the fiery pits, struggling to survive and unable to die. Humph. Such hubris cannot be compared. But he, the conquering king, can see more than anyone else. Perhaps this is the transcendent perspective after grasping the truth of the world. The words of the conqueror king, with the name of conquest as his crown, took the king of heroes back to the distant past. Once upon a time, there was a man. He was a foolish and comical man who, despite his body being made of clay, had the ambition to rival the gods. Of course, his arrogance irked the gods in heaven, and he was punished with death. The hero king never forgot the look on the man's face as he perished, tears streaming down his face. Why are you crying? The hero king asked. Do you regret standing by my side? No, the man replied. Who will understand you after I'm gone? Who will be by your side on your journey? My friend, the thought of you facing everything alone in the future brings me to tears. Thus, as he watched the man take his last breath, the king who rebelled against the gods understood that the life of this man, who sought to surpass humanity as a human, was more valuable and radiant than all the treasures he had amassed. Gilgamesh turned away quietly, his silhouette merging with the darkness as he became a solitary figure once again. But at least he still had him. Isn't that right? Ah! 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 A blood-curdling scream echoed through the Matu mansion. Byakuya's face is a mess of tears and snot, his eyes darting back and forth in fear. The priest from the church has decimated the endless swarm of insects with ease. Like a demon, the assassin penetrated the Matu residence, effortlessly destroying all of their bounded fields. What do you want? What do you want, Kirei? Zukin is held captive by the demonic assassin, his voice quivering. I heard you're seeking immortality, Kirei replied with a sly smile. So I've come to offer you the secret of immortality. What secret of immortality? Zukin was momentarily intrigued, but his many years of experience made him wary. Why are you offering me this secret, and what exactly is it? I am a priest, acting in the name of God. It is my duty to be his angel, Kirei explained. As for what it entails, you'll find out in due time. Kirei slowly advances toward Byakuya and Shinji, who are huddled in the corner, with 101 body assassins in tow. The killing intent in Kirei's gaze is palpable, but a hint of curiosity still lingers on his face. I've heard that you became the head of the Matu family just to enjoy its wealth. Is that true? Kirei asked in a soft tone. No, no, Byakuya cried out in desperation. Really? Kirei's expression of interest faded, replaced by an aura of killing intent. Yes, yes, Byakuya wailed, his face a mess of tears and snot. I was just greedy for everything in the Matu family. I'm just a bastard, a worthless piece of trash. I don't care about magic or Magecraft. I just wanted everything, without having to earn it. I just wanted it all for nothing. Is that so? Kirei's tone remained gentle. Interesting. Can you provide proof of your family's assets? Give it to me, the messenger of the gods. I surrender! I surrender! Byakuya frantically handed Kirei the land deed. Kirei didn't even bother to look at it, tossing it into the nearby sea of fire and watching as it burned to ashes. "What schemes are you hatching, you lapdog of the church?" Zuken sneered. "Everything is the best choice," Kirei replied simply. He then commanded the 101 assassins to raise everything in the Matu family. With a smirk, Kirei turned to Byakuya and said, "As the head of the family, you make quite an entertaining sight, burdened with debts and problems. I eagerly anticipate relishing every moment." The fire of destruction illuminated Kirei's face, casting an angelic and demonic smile upon his lips. He had discovered the true meaning of life, filling the emptiness within him with joy. It was the joy of destroying the precious things that others held dear, of forcing them to live on, unable to escape their misery. This realization brought Kirei a sense of fulfillment that he had never felt before. Ah, this feeling. This is the voice of God. Kirei departed with a hearty laugh. Yet the most delightful surprise was yet to come. The first was the stunning, divine embodiment of black mud, and the second was the presence of something incredibly enjoyable in Gilgamesh that promised to bring Kirei immense delight. The thought of destroying the king who had once guided him and reveling in the anguished and mournful expression of the Golden King filled Kirei with immense pleasure. This emotion, it was the true essence of life. As the fire consumed the surrounding structures and forests, Byakuya gazed at his blazing mansion, tears streaming down his face along with sweat and mucus. Death had already departed, but a living nightmare lay ahead. His assets had turned to ash, and crippling debts loomed on the horizon. Amid this economic depression, what should he do? "Daddy, Daddy!" Shinji sobbed. Byakuya embraced him tightly. At least he still had his son. Kirei brought along Matu Zuken with him. Gilgamesh cast a disgusted look, and his eyes gleamed with disdain. "In the end, you resort to using a corrupted soul? It doesn't matter. A wicked king, a wicked general, a wicked knight, a wicked mud, and now a wicked worm. With this, all necessary evil is complete." Gilgamesh commanded assassin to immerse Matu Zuken in the black mud. Kirei asked, "Is the Lesser Grail not required to complete the Holy Grail?" "The substance of the Grail is embodied in this mud. The substance is present, and all that remains is a container. The key is no longer needed," Gilgamesh replied. "To bypass the Lesser Grail, did you uncover the flaws in the Holy Grail system, servant of the Tosaka?" Matu Zuken queried. But Gilgamesh only responded with a sneer of contempt. These modern-day mortals thought they had achieved something remarkable with their Magecraft. Little did they know that 6,000 years ago, the Magi of Sumerians had already dabbled in such practices. It wasn't necessary to be so serious. But now that the flame had arisen, it was time to be serious. For it was a flame that was similar yet different from him. This feeling, this intense vitality. Ha ha ha. So this is it. This is what I've been searching for. "Immortality!" Matu Zuken exclaimed, laughing heartily. Kirei asked, "Old man, aren't you feeling unwell? If you were to be fully consumed by this mud, you would become the Grail with no freedom left to speak of." Matu Zuken laughed heartily, stating, "That is exactly what I desire. Immortality. Immortality. Even if I am forever transformed into an object, so what? This only proves that I am immortal. The world changes, but I am eternal. Immortality." "Ha ha ha ha!" Kirei displayed a look of disgust. Gilgamesh snorted. "It seems you caught the wrong person." Kirei showed a frustrated expression, as if he was disappointed that he wouldn't get to witness the beautiful scene he had envisioned. "So, only Saber remains," Gilgamesh said. "Should we proceed to pollute them? If so, Leave Kiritsugu to me, Kirei said. No, Gilgamesh said, turning to Kirei. That pure soul has already trapped herself on a dead end. If it's directly contaminated, there's no beauty in it. Let her destroy herself beautifully on that dead end. Kirei, I'm granting you a ticket to the show. Oh, you're truly generous, King, Kirei replied, though he was thinking to himself, I'd rather see you destroy yourself beautifully on a dead end. Gilgamesh gazed at the surging black mud. When the grail is complete, they will come to us. All you have to do then is hand it over. And where are you going? Kirei asked. Gilgamesh gave a wicked grin. To enjoy an even more beautiful flame. And with that, he left. Kirei watched Gilgamesh's departure, a puzzled expression on his face. Why? Why is Gilgamesh so invested in that child? His eyes narrowed, glinting with a dangerous light. The black mud surged and crept into the worn-out worm, overtaking its once decrepit form. As the mud consumed the mother's body, it continued to grow and gestate. With a haunting cackle, the body finally gave way, collapsing and giving birth to a towering tower of black mud. This tower burst through the roof of the holy church, its shadow casting a sinister aura over the sacred grounds. The mud overflowed the land of God, spreading its filth and tainting the once pure statue of God. The black mud tower loomed high above the earth. Evil had arrived.